He's been struggling. He has been struggling offensively. Entering Tuesday of this week, he was hitting 100 in his last 10 games. 100. Not good. On Monday, he took on-field batting practice, which is always a show. And by all accounts, it wasn't. There's a lot of video out from his batting practice on Monday, which he doesn't often take batting practice on the field, but during this slump, he's been doing it more and more. There's a video of him taking his batting practice on Monday, and he's actually pretty frustrated throughout. He did hit a ball like 500 feet out of the stadium, but he was rolling over a lot more balls than usual, or like popping them up, and you could just see a lot of his frustration. And Dave Roberts spoke about his offense lately, and he just said there's a lot more balls on the right side of the infield than there has been the last couple of years, telling me that there's a little over-anxiousness. And I have, throughout the course of this week in Shohei Ohtani news, I have watched a lot of Shohei Ohtani, as the majority of you watching this have. Shohei Ohtani, when he is going to the left side of the field, left center to center, and hitting balls in the air that way, that is when he is going his best. When he is going his worst, he is rolling over balls to the right side of the infield, which he has been doing a good bit lately, rolling over balls to the right side and getting thrown out at first base. When he's going at his best, he's elevating the ball to the other side of the field, staying inside of the ball. And that's what Dave Roberts said. He's just hitting more balls to the right side. And he says it's a little bit of over-anxiousness. To me, there's too much talk about him pitching really well this year and trying to win a Cy Young Award, and that's hurting him offensively. Look, I think that's ridiculous. I really do. Shohei Ohtani has shown how good he is offensively. And you can't tell me, because he's pitching on a Wednesday and really focused on that on Saturday he's rolling over ground balls because he's trying to win a Cy Young Award this year. It's just not happening. Shohei Ohtani is also one of the best hitters in the game of baseball, but he's struggling right now. He's going through it. And when you do that, coming from a career minor league professional hitter that struggled a lot in my 5 years professionally, when you are struggling, it snowballs and it gets worse, and you just keep thinking about it and you keep thinking about how to get out of it, and you just get over anxious, as Dave Roberts said, and the game speeds up on you. Next thing you know, you're trying to inside out balls and hit them the other way, but the game's you're a little jumpy and a little out in front, and you're rolling over balls to the right side. Shohei Ohtani will work himself out of these struggles offensively, and I think it's ridiculous to keep saying that it's about his pitching. I really do. And what did we see? Well, on Tuesday, he did break out of it, I think. I'm hopeful that this is the end of his offensive slump, but I think he broke out of it on Tuesday. He went 2 for 4, but what I was pumped to see was the opposite field home run. He's been working on his offense, and that is exactly what you want to see. The home run that he hit on Tuesday, you can see it right here if you're watching. This is Shohei Ohtani's A1 swing. When he is elevating balls and hitting them deep to left center field, that is when he's at his best. So I am hopeful that this is the end of his offensive hitting slump. It's his first home run of the month of May, and he had his first walk in a week. He hadn't had a walk in a week, which you all know, for Shohei Ohtani to not be walking means he is over anxious. He's in his head, a little jumpy. The game has sped up on him. He just needs to slow it down, and Tuesday I think he did. So I will reiterate once again. This is not because he's having such a great year on the mound. I truly don't believe that. Do I believe he's a little more focused on the mound this year? I do. And do I think that's going to result in him not hitting 60 homers and stealing 50 bases? I do. But do I think that's the reason for him hitting 230 with 7 homers? No. The reason for that is that this is the worst. His timing is all over the place. He's struggling. He knows he's struggling. He's trying to do too much to get out of it, so he's a little over anxious, and it's a snowball effect. His timing is the worst that I have seen so far from in his career, honestly. It's the worst offensive start to a season in his career, and you can see it in his timing. He's all over the place. He's swinging at pitches. He's striking out at pitches he normally wouldn't be swinging at. So I think he's out of it. And Tuesday we saw that, and he's working his way out of it. And if I know anything about Shohei, it's that he's going to work himself out of this slump. And I'm hopeful that Tuesday was the beginning of that. But we will not see that. We didn't see it on Wednesday because he didn't see it hit. And by all accounts, he's not going to hit on Thursday as well, which is what Dave Roberts said. Maybe there's a chance Shohei goes up and is like, look, man, I'm hitting, and you're not going to keep me out of this lineup. But Dave Roberts said he's going to stay true to his word. But the lineup is not out yet at the time of this recording, so we will see. I do want to look, if let's say Shohei continues to be this hitter all year long, which he will not be, but let's say he is. That's around a 230 hitter, and we're a quarter of the way through the year with 7 homers, so that's 7, 14, 21, 28 home runs. Let's say he finishes the year hitting 230 with 28 home runs, and he wins the Cy Young Award. To even have the conversation of is he the MVP is ridiculous to me. What are we talking about? His OPS plus is over 100, by the way. It's around 115 to 120. That means he's a 15 to 20% better hitter than league average still. And that is Shohei at his worst. If he wins a Cy Young Award this year with a sub-2 ERA and he hits 28 homers and has a 240 batting average, it is still one of the greatest seasons of all time. Only beat by Shohei Ohtani every other year that he's had in his career, basically. So this is what sucks about being a two-way superstar. He has the lowest ERA in the sport of baseball, and we're still having the conversation of is he the MVP because he's hitting 235 with 7 homers? That answer is so obviously yes. It makes me mad we're even having the conversation. It's so obvious. And he's not going to hit 230 with 28 homers. He's going to hit above 250 with around 40 homers this year. Just because everybody is always looking for the opportunity to say he needs to stop doing this and do this. Oh, he needs to stop doing this and do this. They're constantly looking for that answer instead of just sitting back and appreciating how good he is and what he's doing. He's the greatest baseball player we have ever seen in our lives. And guess what? If you lived in a different lifetime, he's still the greatest baseball player you have ever seen. He's the MVP this year. I think he's the overwhelming favorite. He still is. He still should be. His pitching has been unbelievable, and he's going to pick it up offensively. So, yes. If Shohei wins the Cy Young Award and still is just doing what he's currently doing offensively, he's still the MVP of this year.
It's going to be an exciting race all summer long. Now, speaking of how the pitching could impact the lineup, we saw Mookie Betts batting leadoff. He gets a home run. We saw Will Smith hit a home run, the leadoff spot. Fabian, is there any chatter about maybe making a switch to the leadoff spot, maybe moving Shohei down, maybe moving Mookie back to where he's had the most success throughout his career?
No. Shohei will be leading off today against the Angels in Anaheim. So I don't think that's going to change. I still think that the logic is still sound, like the same logic that's been there since Ohtani became a Dodger, or like at least halfway through his first season as a Dodger, which is he's the best hitter in this lineup. You want to give him the most at bats. You want to give him the most cracks at sort of getting some swings. I do think that, like, obviously we've only seen a couple of games of this. Only a couple of games of Ohtani, Betts, Freeman back at the top of the order. I do think that's something that kind of makes a lot of sense on paper. And then with Tucker in the 4th spot makes a ton of sense. And I think it's one of those things that as guys start to get hot, you'll start to see it play out the way that you kind of would envision. But I do understand the logic possibly in like having Ohtani hit a little bit lower in the order on days where he's pitching at home if you're going to have him hit and pitch in the same game. But if that's not going to be the case, if you're going to be sort of treating him the way that they have recently, where maybe he's not hitting on the days he pitches or stuff like that, like I still think it matters the most to have him taking the most plate appearances for this team.
I'm with you. Full stop. I mean, that's the best hitter, gets the most plate appearances, and he had so much success for most of the last 2 seasons. But where do you see the best fit for Mookie, Jerry?
Well, it's just fascinating. Me being an old head, growing up and me playing in the big leagues, the best hitter always hit third, because you wanted the leadoff hitter to get on base with speed. I let off a lot in my career. I would have loved to told Cal Ripken, hey, I'm the best hitter because I'm the leadoff hitter. But that's what it is today.
That's awesome.
That's where they put the best hitter because you want them to have the most at-bats. I will say this. I love that the Dodgers have that plan, and Fabian is right. Shohei Ohtani will be in the lineup today, and he's going to be the leadoff hitter. They do have a plan, but that plan can change. If this goes on a little prolonged and Shohei is not being the Shohei that we know him as the hitter, they can make a change. We just saw what Kyle Tucker did. He hit second. Now he's hitting fourth and fifth, and he has taken off swinging the bat. Sometimes a change of scenery wouldn't hurt the player. So I think this is going to be ever-changing. They would prefer Shohei Ohtani stay in the leadoff as the leadoff hitter for the next 100, 150 games into the playoffs in the postseason. But if he's not being the Shohei that we know, maybe a month from now, they make a change. Maybe Mookie goes back and hits leadoff. But right now, they want Shohei Ohtani to be that leadoff hitter because we know when Shohei Ohtani is right, he's dynamic. He could hit that ball out of the ballpark right away in that first inning. But you go back a couple of years ago, so could Mookie Betts. I think Mookie Betts tied or broke the Dodgers record with like 12 or 13 leadoff home runs in a season. So Mookie's very familiar being that leadoff hitter. But make no mistake about it, we need to get all these guys going in the right direction at the plate because we're going to need to swing the bat. We can't hit 203 in the postseason again and expect to win another World Series.
Yeah, we saw in 2020 they really took off when Mookie was getting into that leadoff spot, and then he didn't move down until he broke his hand in 2024. But bottom line, I mean, Shohei at the leadoff spot is what they're going to do, so that's just going to be the reality. Now, yeah, the lineup optimization is always funny to me. I mean, the 3-hole is always, okay, leadoff, get on. Then the second guy move him over, and you score the run. I remember seeing like a baseball prospectus article a couple years ago that was saying that the 5 spot's more important than the 3 spot. So it's all over the place, but one guy, Fabian, who has been moved down, has had a lot of success since it has been May, is Kyle Tucker. As you point out in your most recent piece for The Athletic, in 312, 12 for 38 with a 990 OPS in May. What has been the difference for Kyle Tucker?
I think he's doing a lot of the Kyle Tucker things that he wasn't doing at the start of the season. I think Dave Roberts kind of touched upon it. We've touched upon it on the show. It's like the aggression that he had early on in counts early this season was not very typical of him. It looked like a guy who was trying to get a feel for things. I know Tucker said he wasn't trying to do too much, but he did not seem comfortable at the plate. He did not look in command and in control of his at-bats in the way that he has been when he's at his best. And I think that you've seen that lately. Obviously, like the doubles have started to come a little bit. You saw that over the course of this homestand. The at-bat quality has been better. Not saying like everything's locked down, but like Dave Roberts said yesterday, like there have been flashes and spurts over the last week or two where he has looked locked in. Obviously, it's not consistent. Like he's not completely locked in yet, but like it's at a point where things are starting to look better. Things are starting to look a lot more like the version of Tucker that they were expecting. Yeah, because like they were talking about him in spring training as sort of not quite a Max Muncy because it's not like the same specific approach, but doing a lot of the things that Max Muncy does well, which is controlling the strike zone, working at maybe not working at bats the same way Muncy does, but still like putting together type of quality at bat that like the next guy can sort of take the baton and sort of follow suit with a similar type of a bat and so on and so forth and carry that over the course of the lineup. And that's why like the word like we keep saying about Tucker throughout this sort of season was he was supposed to be a floor raiser for this offense. And obviously that hasn't played out and the floor for the offense has been kind of falling down as a result. But like if Tucker is looking like this, then yes, it all of a sudden the offense does have a higher floor. And that is sort of what the Dodgers were kind of envisioning. I wouldn't say he's like fully out of it yet, but like there are enough signs there like that. All right, this is the version of Tucker the Dodgers are kind of anticipating getting. And I think as he gets hotter, I think the lineup will continue to get better.
Yeah, he's just looking like Kyle Tucker. I mean, you look at since the start of May, the walk rate at 15.4%, the strikeout rate at 13.5%. That was always something that he did that made him a special offensive player. But Jerry, a couple nights ago, he's batting fifth. We've seen him kind of bat down in the order. What do you think that does specifically for him? Is it just comfort, seeing different pitches? How do you think that helps his offense?
I think it's a comfort level. I think sometimes, especially when you're on your new team, I know this is his third team, you're trying to over-impress, you're trying to impress your teammates, and that will cause a guy to press a little bit. You talk about the high strikeout rate, which is very uncharacteristic of Kyle Tucker to start the season. You saw him missing some pitches in the strike zone, fouling them back, and talk to any hitter. When you're missing pitches, that's extremely frustrating because the big league pitchers know how to put you away if you don't put those in play. Those pitches you should hit hard early in the at bat. So I think that was more frustrating, and the high chase rate. Now that's really gone away. He's having great at bats. I love the at bats he's had this past homestand, especially against the left-handed pitching. Robbie Ray is as tough as it gets. He's tough on righties as well, but the at bat he hit. Breaking ball, stayed square, stayed on it long, able to put the barrel down, was able to hit a couple doubles that game. That to me showed he's calming down the batter's box, understanding, hey, I'm going to let this guy come to me. And then when I do get my pitch, I'm going to put a good swing on it and barrel it. So I said it a couple weeks ago, he's too good of a player not to figure it out. And he knows he's going to be in there every day. He's taking a breath, say, hey, it's a long season. I'm going to trust the process, trust my at-bats, and I know I'm going to get hot at some point. And like Fabian said, he's not all the way back, but that's okay. That's a good thing. But the most important thing is he's having quality at-bats. And when guys that are talented have quality at-bats, you're going to see the production go up.
And then there's Teoscar Hernandez, who Dave Roberts essentially challenged a couple of days ago, earning his spot up in the lineup.